Long before Rapunzel ever knew who she was, the world once held a miraculous golden flower. Born from pure sunlight, the flower possessed the power to heal, to prolong life, and to hold back the passing of youth. It was never worshipped. It was never written into legends. In truth, only one person truly understood its value. That person was Mother Gothel. She was not a queen, nor a sorceress from fairy tales. She was simply a woman terrified of growing old, afraid of being forgotten, and haunted by the fear of one day fading out of existence. So day after day, she sang to the flower, borrowing its warm golden light to anchor herself to time itself. Until the day the king and queen of the kingdom of Corona discovered it. To save the life of their dying queen, they plucked the flower from the ground. The magic seemed to vanish. But it had not disappeared. It had merely changed its form. When the baby princess was born, her hair shimmered with radiant golden light. And whenever she sang, the magic returned. Mother Gothel understood immediately. The power was not gone, it had been transferred to the child. That very night, she slipped into the royal palace. She did not kill the baby. She took her. She carried the child to a tall tower hidden deep within the forest, raised her, taught her, and gave her a name. Rapunzel. Life inside the tower followed a rhythm so steady that it almost felt timeless. Morning light slipped through the high windows, touching the stone walls with a soft glow. Rapunzel woke before the sun fully rose, not because she was told to, but because her body had learned the pattern. She braided her long hair carefully, humming melodies she did not remember learning. She cleaned, cooked, read, painted, stretched, and danced across the floor, filling the silence with motion. The tower was not empty. It was full of routine. Mother Gothel watched this life with satisfaction. Not joy, exactly, but relief. Everything was where it belonged. Every hour accounted for. Every question anticipated before it could be asked. She praised Rapunzel often, but always with conditions woven quietly into her words. Rapunzel was clever, but only because she listened. She was talented, but only because she stayed safe. She was special, but fragile. And fragile things, Mother reminded her, must be protected. Rapunzel absorbed these truths without resistance. They were not delivered as threats. They were offered as guidance, wrapped in concern, softened by affection. Mother brushed her hair gently at night, singing the familiar song that made the world feel steady and small. The magic flowed, the years held still, and everything appeared balanced. Yet beneath that balance, something subtle shifted. Rapunzel began to notice how quiet the tower truly was. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind that comes from having no one else to hear you think. She spoke aloud to fill the space, narrated her own actions, laughed at her own jokes. The walls echoed back, faithful but empty. And then there were the lanterns. Every year, on the same night, they rose into the sky beyond the forest. Rapunzel felt them before she saw them, like a tug beneath her ribs. She would press her forehead to the glass, watching them float upward, each one carrying a warmth she could not explain. When she asked about them, Mother Gothel's response was always the same. Dismissive, careful, closed. They were meaningless. Dangerous. A distraction. The world outside was not kind, and curiosity, she warned, led only to regret. Rapunzel nodded. Because nodding was easier than arguing. But the questions did not leave. They settled quietly inside her, stacking one on top of another, waiting. The day Flynn Rider entered her life did not begin differently. Rapunzel moved through her routines as always, unaware that something had already changed. Somewhere beyond the trees, a young man ran, breathless and determined, clutching a stolen crown he barely understood the weight of. He did not seek towers or miracles. He sought escape. Fate, however, has a way of redirecting those who run too fast. When Flynn stumbled into the tower, climbing where he should not have climbed, Rapunzel reacted before her thoughts could catch up. Her body tightened, her breath sharpened, and every warning Mother had ever planted rose at once. Stranger meant danger. Danger meant survival. She struck him down not with anger, but with instinct. When he woke, bound and confused, Rapunzel stood at a distance, gripping her frying pan like an anchor. She had never hurt anyone before. Her hands trembled, not with guilt, but with the unfamiliar sensation of choice. Flynn did not shout. He did not threaten. He looked at her as if she were a person, not a problem to solve. His eyes held curiosity, not calculation. That unsettled her more than fear ever could. She paced as she questioned him, her voice wavering between confidence and apology. Each answer he gave carried traces of a world she had only imagined. Taverns. Cities. Crowds. Noise. Movement. Life unfolding beyond stone walls. Rapunzel felt torn between excitement and shame. Excitement for wanting more. Shame for wanting it at all. Mother Gothel returned that evening to a scene she did not expect. The sight of Flynn bound in the tower triggered something sharp and immediate. Her voice tightened, her posture stiffened, and her words turned cold. This was danger made visible. This was proof that the outside world did not wait politely at the door. She did not scold Rapunzel harshly. She did not need to. Her disappointment was enough. Mother spoke of betrayal masked as concern. She spoke of fear disguised as wisdom. She painted vivid pictures of harm, of manipulation, of loss. And Rapunzel listened, because the fear felt familiar, safe in its certainty. Yet something had already changed. When Flynn spoke to Rapunzel alone again, he did not argue with Mother's warnings. He did not tell Rapunzel she was wrong. He simply told her she was capable. Capable of deciding. Capable of surviving. Capable of more. Those words settled in her chest like a spark searching for air. The deal Rapunzel offered was not cleverness. It was compromise with her own fear. She could not yet admit she wanted freedom, so she framed it as curiosity. One night. One journey. One lantern-filled sky. Flynn agreed, perhaps sensing that this was not theft or escape, but something quieter and heavier. A first step. Leaving the tower felt wrong in every possible way. Rapunzel's feet touched the grass, and she froze. The world felt too open, too wide, too real. She laughed and cried in the same breath, swinging between joy and panic as if her heart could not decide which feeling belonged. Each step away from the tower loosened something inside her, even as guilt pressed down harder. Mother's voice echoed in her mind, warning, cautioning, predicting disaster. But the world did not end. They walked through forests and villages, past people who smiled and ignored them, who lived without knowing her name or her hair or her power. Rapunzel felt invisible in the most freeing way possible. Flynn never rushed her. He never pulled. He stayed close without closing her in. And slowly, Rapunzel began to feel something she had never felt before. Trust in herself. The lanterns filled the sky that night, glowing softly above the water. Rapunzel watched them rise, tears blurring her vision as understanding washed over her. This was her birthday. This was what had called to her for so long. She did not yet know the truth of her origin, but she felt its shape forming. Mother Gothel's return shattered the illusion gently, painfully. Her voice slid back into Rapunzel's thoughts with practiced ease. She questioned, she doubted, she reframed. She did not shout. She did not strike. She simply reminded Rapunzel of who she was supposed to be. Confused. Dependent. Afraid. But Rapunzel had seen the world now. She had felt the ground beneath her feet and the choice within her chest. And even as guilt tore through her, something stronger held firm. She was not wrong for wanting more. The truth revealed itself not as a single moment, but as a series of realizations. The crown. The memories. The hair. The song. Everything aligned slowly, painfully, beautifully. Rapunzel was not stolen because she was weak. She was taken because she was powerful. When Mother Gothel's control finally slipped, it did not break loudly. It unraveled. Words lost their hold. Fear lost its certainty. And Rapunzel stood, trembling but standing, in her own identity. She did not hate Mother Gothel. She understood her. And that understanding hurt more than anger ever could. Flynn's presence remained steady through it all, not as a savior, but as a witness. Someone who stayed when staying was not required. And in that quiet loyalty, Rapunzel learned what love felt like when it did not ask her to shrink. The tower still stood at the edge of the forest. But it no longer held her. Inside Rapunzel, the walls had already fallen.